Today in this series of OmniStudio Developer Certification Preparation, we will be doing this module that is OmniScripts from the Trail mix given by Salesforce, and we will be discussing about how OmniScripts work, why do we use it, what's the benefit of it, what makes it unique, and other things related to that. So let's jump to the first module of it, that is learn the fundamentals of OmniScript. So in this module, if we go to the objectives, we will be discussing that what it is and why we are using it and its key capabilities. So first of all, if you remember, OmniScripts is the guided path for completing any business process. So if you to make you better understand about it, if you consider some examples such as if we are checking and updating few contact information, account information which we are getting from Salesforce, and then we want to update them. So similarly, if we are getting any we want to extract our bill, or if we want to extract our personal information from Salesforce, or if from any database we are getting any kind of information, or if there is any there is option that we can update them, so it will provide us a stepwise process to do that, which will be with the less code and more drag and drop configuration. So if you see this image, you can see that it is an example of insurance, and these are the steps, and by clicking on next button, or is it could have screens, or you can say pages or steps, could have few fields that you will fill out, and then based on that field the second screen will be differ. So do and the steps will change. Similarly, in Salesforce we do have path or path flow, if you remember, for status or such fields. So these are the steps. And if we talk about key capabilities, that the main thing is that it provide it you can understand it as a backend. It provides us with the backend functionality where we are extracting the data from Salesforce. If we compare it to LWC, so you can say it is doing the work of JavaScript or Apex, in which we are getting the data from Salesforce, but we are eliminating the possibility of code, and we are using drag and drop, and mostly just typing it out fields and using no code at all. And we can use OmniScripts on any device or any channel. It is not limited to any agents to use, like only these agents or these channels can use. And it has modular architecture. If you can see, we are getting this screen in which elements are configured in the order which we want to proceed. First of all, we have IP get account details, which is the integration procedure to get the account details. Then steps, then third is again IP save account details. In this we might be updating the account details and saving it back to the Salesforce. And then fourth, navigate action. There might be some other procedure as well, maybe even submit button or something like that. Then in second, we are selecting the theme. We can even preview, if you remember earlier we have discussed that. And then in third, we have a data JSON or action debugger, which will provide us with the data which we are inputting and getting the output. And we can display data in OmniScripts from multiple resources. It is preferred that we use integration procedure for multiple reasons, which we discuss in further modules, where we are getting to know more about integration procedures. And then yeah, that's that. So let's come to the quiz. Our first question is true or false. You can use an OmniScript to present data from different sources. Yes. Second is, which of the following is a key capability of OmniScript? First is restricted to agent consoles. No. It is available to any devices or any channel. Second, built with code, not clicks. No. If it this option was restructured as built with clicks and not code, then it should be correct. It would have correct. And third is modular in its architecture. So yes, modular in its architecture means which we just saw, that it has theme, action debugger, data JSON, and then the stepwise instruction. So yes, let's check. We have completed this quiz. Let's come to the next unit, which is explore omniscript guided interaction. So the guided steps which we discussed earlier, we will be digging deep into that. So let's consider this example. In this completing a form, we are getting two image of electric meter, and then we are clicking on next, and then there are some fields. We will be putting any value, and then there is one field which will be calculated based on the given value, so it must be formula field, and then last we will be submitting it and completing our process. So yeah, it is just about that. We can show messages, help text information or images on our screens, then choose from one or more sets of items. So we can have group element in which we can put multiple items in one block of element. Okay, then display drop down list choices, like pick list field, we can do that as well. Okay, address map. Yeah, so just a bit about that, how means uh, how you are viewing it as a UI, just a UI display of OmniScript. So let's come to the quiz. First is, which of the following might a customer receive during a guided interaction? First option is an email if they don't work quickly enough. No. Second, contextual help such as information and photos. Yes. Third is confirmation of an uploaded image. Yes. So B and C. What can determine a customer's selections during a guided interaction? First option is options made available to them. Second is information they enter. Third is quality of customer service they get. So third option is incorrect. First and second option are correct. D. Let's check. Yes. So let's move on to the next unit. Dig into the OmniScript Designer. Now we will be designing those screens in this unit. So how we are doing that? Let's come here. We have build panel where we can search for elements and then drag and drop on the screen. Then setup, we can select set its properties, data source of that OmniScript. In the header we are defining its or displaying its detail information, or you can say metadata, that what its type, subtype, language, version, if it is active or not, and what is the description of this OmniScript. And then in the navigation bar, we do have buttons such as if we want to preview it, or if we want to create a new version of it, activate it, or edit this OmniScript. Then in third we are having navigation panel related to this elements which we are having here. And yeah, so that's about it. So you can get into more details to it. I'll just give overview. In properties element, we are setting up the values of particular elements, what its name should be, if we are saving it or not, and if from where we are getting its data, some details like that. In preview, we can preview it by giving the IDs, context IDs, record ID, basically, which we will be getting from, in ideal scenarios, from first salesforce to data raptor, then to integration procedure, and then to OmniScript. So it is in the form of context ID in OmniScripts. Data JSON is we are getting data or displaying data in the form of JSON. Action debugger, we can debug our OmniScript in that or get idea. And in product help, we can get help information, help text, what this element is, how does it work, what its ideal data source, or such things. So let's come to the quiz. First question is, how can you build OmniScripts with the LWC OmniScript Designer? First is drag and drop. Yes. Second, specialized code, not required. Third is configuration. So yes, A and C should be the correct answer. Second is, where can you see contextual information and instruction in OmniScript Designer? So first option is setup panel. No, in this we define mostly our data source, context ID and such thing. In product help, yes, only in this we see our contextual information. Third option is action debugger. No, in this we debug our OmniScript. Fourth is properties panel. So in properties panel we set up our properties for particular element, like setup or integration procedure, its name, if it's active, if we want to save it for later or not, like those. Yeah, let's check. And we are done with this quiz. Let's move on to the next. Design a simple OmniScript. So let's design alongside with the salesforce. We will not be doing this in playground yet, but let's try to understand it as much as we can. So what different type of elements do we have in OmniScript? First is action. Action we use to perform or calling any other tools, such as integration procedure, data raptor, if you want to save data or not, if you want to calculate something, if you want to send an email, those actions if you want to perform. Second is display. If you want to display any text, then there is a display text block. Functions, if we are performing any function, or if you want to show conditional messages, like if this condition is true, then we want to display first message, and if not, then we want to display second message. Then groups, we can group multiple element together on the UI, so that there we can use group element. Then fourth, input. If we want a user to input in any field, if we want user input, then we use input element. And then last is omniscript. So if there is similar to child flex card, if we want to reuse omniscript, there is no child omniscript, but we can reuse omniscript. So if we want to reuse any omniscript, we can reuse that by putting an omniscript as an element into an omniscript. Okay, so they are explaining it more in detail. So in display we do have it separated as line break element and text block element. So as its name suggests, text block element is just to display the text, and line break element, if you want to add on space between two elements, then we can add line break element. Okay, group element also comes in three types: block, added block, and radio group. If we want to display multiple radio buttons, added block if we want to display multiple records in real time, so such things. Yes. Then they are saying choose elements for an interaction. Okay, they are explaining the functionality of an omniscript. So if you see, this is the step element in an omniscript. This might have been the name of this step element. It is not a display text. The name should be the display text. And then this is input field in read only mode, then line break display element, then this is user input element, then line break again, and then again input element. Integration procedures. Yes. So yes, we are done with this. Let's come to the quiz. First is, which element provides autocomplete and search functionality? Autocomplete element, no. Second is type ahead block element. So type ahead block element is the element where we can searching, like we are typing one letter or two letter, and then it is continuing searching as soon as we are typing. So it is auto completing our word as well as it is working for search functionality, so this should be the correct answer. Then third is line break element. As we discussed, it is just to add the space. D is radio group, which is also not correct answer. Second question is, which of the following should you consider when designing your OmniScript? First option is which elements are easiest to incorporate. Okay, second option is which capabilities you need on the back end. So yes, that's the most important thing which we need to think about, that what kind of functionality do we need to perform on this OmniScript. Third is which features need to be visible to the agent. What all features we want to be visible to users, so that is also important. So B and C should be the correct answer. Let's check. That's the correct. Now let's move on to the last unit of this module, that is create a simple OmniScript. Okay, so yeah, so how do we define an OmniScript unique in an R? Uh, if we you remember, we have discussed that in header or in highlight panel, we did have its name, type, subtype, language, version, and also description. So these things. So no, not all these fields, or you say metadata of an omniscript makes it unique, but only its type, subtype, and language makes an omniscript unique. Okay, and yeah, so here it is. So if you kept it apart, only these first three values of an omniscript makes it unique, and it is recommended that type while creating an omniscript should be put in lowercase letter. Okay, add an omniscript step and inputs. Here we are just creating a step element and one step. Yeah, so here we are discussing the naming. We should use Pascal case and no spaces for element names, such as this. And object and field names should be defined properly, and specify the object for IDs. Okay, this we need to remember. And if we want to make a field read only, then we need to select the checkbox of read only. Required, if we want the user to make sure that user should fill out this field, then we need to select the required checkbox for that particular field. And then width setting, we need to drag the responsive control on width grid. It is present in the OmniScript, so that it will be responsive to browser. How data flows into and out of an OmniScript. So this we have discussed using data raptor and integration procedure. So if it is only one field, we can use data raptor extract service or lookup. And if it is fields, multiple fields from one object only, then we can use data raptor turbo extract. And then if it is fields from more than one object, then we can use data raptor extract. If it is API, then HTTP action. Anything that Apex can access, then remote action. And if user, then input element should be the key. This is in more detail is discussed about how the data is flowing. So we'll discuss this one. If we are uh, getting the data from Salesforce, so how it is getting to us. So first, using data raptor, we are getting the data from Salesforce. It is coming into data raptor in the form of SOQL. Then from data raptor to integration procedure, which is present in OmniScript, it is coming in the form of JSON, which is in as in account ID. Just now we have discussed that ID should be in the form of object, so that is account ID. And then from that, in to make it visible or to have access in OmniScript, we use it as context ID. Similarly, we talk about that if we are saving any value from OmniScript to Salesforce, then how it is getting flowed. The JSON will be updated from OmniScript. It will save into integration procedure. Then updated JSON will go to the data raptor load. If you remember, while we have discussed in earlier fundamental of OmniStudio, that there is data raptor loader which we use to save the record to Salesforce. So using data raptor load, we will save it to Salesforce, and that data will go to the Salesforce in the form of SOQL. So yes, then they are configuring action element. So we will discuss more about that in our upcoming module. So let's come to the quiz. First question is, what gives an omniscript its unique identity? As we have discussed, type, subtype, and language. Second is, an omniscript uses a parser to match the JSON that comes from an integration procedure to the inputs in an omniscript based on what? So it is based on SQL scripts, I believe. Let's check. Okay. Let's revisit our question. An omniscript uses a parser to match the JSON that comes from an integration procedure. Yes, to the inputs in an omniscript based on what? So in omniscript, it uses a parser to match the JSON based on element names. Let's check this answer. So yeah, that's the correct one. So we have completed this module, that is OmniScripts, in our series to prepare for OmniStudio developer certification. So we will be coming to our next video in this series with OmniScripts with branching. So yes, stay tuned.